Hey everybody, welcome back to World History. We're doing section 4 today, so go ahead and get your notes out and let's get started. So continuing where we left off last time, we're going to be continuing to focus on Southeast Asia, specifically with Indochina and Vietnam today. Now, Indochina was under foreign rule. It was the eastern part of mainland Southeast Asia. It had been conquered by the French during the 1800s. Japan's going to overrun it during World War II, and they're going to face fierce resistance from guerrillas, or small groups of loosely organized soldiers making surprise raids. Now, after World War II, the French are going to reestablish authority over it. They're actually going to face resistance by Ho Chi Minh, a nationalist and communist who had fought the Japanese. This is going to lead to an armed conflict between the French and these resistance fighters, with the French being defeated at Dien Bien Phu and the French actually leaving Vietnam altogether. By 1954, Vietnam is going to be divided into two countries at an international conference, very similar to Korea. We have Ho Chi Minh and this communist regime in the north, and Ngo Dinh Diem and the non-communist regime controlling South Vietnam, supported by the U.S. From this, we have a new foreign policy to talk about, the domino theory. Essentially, the idea if Vietnam fell to communism, other Southeast Asian countries would follow. Now, Ho Chi Minh wanted to unite Vietnam as a communist country, and supported the Viet Cong, or communist rebels trying to overthrow South Vietnam's government. Vietnam's going to become a major Cold War struggle. The U.S. is going to send supplies and military advisors to South Vietnam to help them. No troops at first, though, with the Soviets and China sending aid to North Vietnam. This conflict is going to last for the next decade and a half. South Vietnamese forces are going to raid North Vietnamese islands in 1964, and then things are going to escalate to where the North Vietnamese attack a U.S. Navy ship, believed to have been helping in the raids. As a result, President Lyndon B. Johnson got Congress to pass the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, authorizing the use of force by American troops in Vietnam, and the U.S. officially joined the fight to stop spread communism to South Vietnam. Americans are going to face a guerrilla or loosely organized soldiers' war in Vietnam. Rebels, friends with villagers knew the landscape, and the U.S. troops were out of their element, and they were getting picked off pretty easily. In 1968, we have to talk about the Tet Offensive. Now, this was launched by the North Vietnamese and attacked cities all across South Vietnam in a massive surprise attack. It was extremely effective, and it massively damaged South Vietnamese infrastructure. Now, this was the turning point in public opinion against the Vietnam War in the U.S. Unlike previous wars, this is the first war that you saw on your televisions at home every evening. This was our first true news coverage of a war that was live. Growing American casualties and high civilian deaths resulted in anti-war movements and protests here in the U.S. U.S. troops could not destroy communists' will to fight, and by 1973, we withdrew from Vietnam, as Nixon negotiated the Paris Peace Accord, which established a ceasefire or halt in fighting. We withdrew all of our troops. North Vietnam agreed to not send any more troops in the South, and South Vietnam was to determine its own future and set a goal of peaceful reunification with the North. That ain't going to happen. By 1975, the North Vietnam Army is going to conquer South Vietnam, reunifying the country. The city of Saigon will be renamed Ho Chi Minh City, and communists are going to impose harsh rule in the South. Thousands are going to flee the country in small boats, trying to go anywhere away from the communists. As a result of Vietnam falling, Cambodia also fell to communism under the attack of the Khmer Rouge, or communist rebels. They led a rebellion in 1975 and overthrew the communist government led by Pol Pot. They're going to murder a third of the Cambodian population in order to destroy Western influence. They're also going to invade Vietnam and set up an authoritarian government. This is going to end the Khmer Rouge with a genocide. Now, the U.S.'s worst fears were coming true. More and more southeastern countries were falling to communism. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. All right, that is it for notes for today. I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.